If you are a real estate agent and you are tired of cold calling, door knocking, paying for ads that flat out don't work, or just tired of not knowing how to generate leads, then this is the channel for you. We are four rockstar agents who have come together to help fellow agents achieve financial freedom as well as location and time freedom. My name is Andy Hollis, along with my partners Aileen Fountain, David Doran, and Tim Hollenden. Together, we have over 50 plus years experience and knowledge in the real estate and sales and training industry, and we are hoping to pass that knowledge on to you. So let's get started.
There's so many places you could be, and there's so many real estate agents that are not honing their real estate skills. They're not getting better. The washout rate is just incredible, getting a real estate because most people are licensees. Most people don't run a real estate business. And I want to make sure that I can share as much as I can in this limited time I have with you. So I want to make sure I pack you full of information and if you guys can stick with me through the end, I'll bribe you on some stuff too, if you like. Like if you want to are you bribable? I mean, this is not against license law. Don't get uptight on me on this. This is just fun. All right. Like, maybe you want to copy my book or something like that, or, it's, I include it for free. You just got to stick with me, and ideally I want to have everybody's cameras on too, because if you're participating, you're involved in this, you're more likely to pick something up. And just talking about memory, retention of information, if you just listen to what I'm saying today, you may pick up. I always use the 10% rule. You can take 10% away from this, it's a win. Okay. But if you can engage in this, if you want to share this with other people, your retention of information goes higher, 20, 30%. If you can teach this to somebody, that's ideal. And then you get to 90, 95% retention of information. I'd love it. You can teach some of this stuff. So I am grateful that you guys, that you're here, that I have the opportunity to share this because it helps me too. It helps reinforce what I've been doing for 22 years. And I use this outside of real estate too. These are just questions. What we're going to cover today is my seller intake form. This is something that I print out on my desk, and I have copies of it. And I have a seller lead. I'm just going through this step. I don't want to memorize anything. All right. Everybody's like, memorize. I still don't have this memorized. I teach this. I've done it. The whole point is not to memorize it. Not right now. I'm in Orlando, Florida. I'm licensed in Illinois, but I'm in Orlando, Florida. Somebody asked me about that yesterday. And actually, it was a client who actually, former client. I actually did a couple deals with him, and he moved out of state, moved to Iowa, and I haven't talked to him in 12 years. And he called me up, and it's like, "Yeah, I got into real estate a couple of years ago, and I'm probably moving back to Illinois." And I'm like, "Do you need an agent?" It's like, "No, I'm licensed in Illinois." I'm like, "All right, that's great. Great." Chatted with him forever, and it was just eye-opening, some of the stuff that he was getting into, different parts of the country. And let me share a little story here, what he shared with me. Now, he's been in the business for 2 years, and he started working with a buyer, and he got a lead it was a Zillow lead, which I'm kind of appalled at some of that whole thing. I hate it when other companies are taking money out of our pockets here. He's paying 30% to Zillow. I'm like, take that 30% and put it towards marketing and branding yourself. All right. So he showed this property to this young couple. They loved it. They wanted it. He put a contract on it. They didn't sell their house yet. Didn't even have it up for sale yet. He put a for sale sign in their yard. But he put it was a home sale contingency on the contract for the purchase. Then he gets the sign up real quick. Within a week, he gets a contract on that one too. So it's like, oh, wow, we got 2 deals going. Well, they do the home inspection on the purchase. Can you guys figure out where I'm going with this? Do the home inspection, and all the family comes. All the family members got to put their 2 cents in. Oh my gosh, this place is awful. Oh my God, it's going to collapse on itself. You're going to die of black mold or whatever. Oh, okay, like one of those types of things. And so they back out of the deal for the purchase, and then they want to back out of the listing that's under contract too, their property, and they're all mad at the agent, who's my former client, past client, and he's like, he's a good guy, this guy's a good guy. He really is a good guy. He was he actually worked for the government, and he retired from the government. He worked for so long, he was working for oh God, was it FEMA? He's a really good guy, nice guy, family guy, um, always means well. And he's just like, what the heck? Like, I said, you did it in the wrong order. You did the whole thing in the wrong order. You sold them a house first, then you listed their house. Like, why would you do that? Are you familiar with the buy sell analysis? If you do it in that order, how much of a small fortune you could be costing yourself because you buy that house and then you haven't sold your house. So you got to entice that seller to take your deal, which means what? You got to probably pay more money, probably not the favorable terms. How much money do you think more you need to pay to get them to take a home sale contingency? It's not, your property isn't even listed yet. I mean, that's high risk. And somebody could probably kick you out of that deal too. So then you get your home on the market. You paid too much for the first place. Then you get your home on the market, and now you have to sell it quickly. So you're more likely to take a less of a deal. Of course. How much of a small fortune is right there? Okay. On both sides, you paid too much and you're giving away your current property. What should have been happened? You should have taken them straight to their home and done a proper listing presentation from the start, understand the needs. And this was my problem too in real estate. Did it in the wrong order. Figured this out the hard way. When you do it in the right order, and what I'm going to share with you today is my seller intake form. I go back to this form because this is my initial contact with somebody to make sure I have all the relevant information. That's my go back to it, reassess when a deal. Okay, I had a listing for 6 months and they can't sell. Yeah, it's overpriced. Let's go into that. Where did I screw that part up? Expectations right from the start. Go back to my seller intake form. What information did I collect from them? What did I know walking into the appointment that I reviewed with them on the appointment? It's a process of, well, it's a process of a process to make sure you don't have the same problem again and again and again and again. I mean, have you ever done that? You guys got two deals and they both fell apart, you know? Ah, that's just like, I don't know if you didn't feel that way. When he told me this on the phone, I was just like, oh man, that's pain. That is so pain. I said, you got to read my book. He's like, I know you had a book. Like, you probably should read my book. And by the way, I'll bribe all you guys with that book if you like. But I don't want you guys to go through. I don't want everybody here to go through that type of pain. Now, if you're all experienced and all is great, and I'm just talking, way below where you guys are at in life, great. But the agents that I tend to coach and train tend to be at higher levels, but they still need reminders of that success because they get carried around by buyers sometimes. And then it's like you're herding cats. And where are we going with all this stuff? You did the whole thing backwards. You got to stick to the plan because you got family members telling your clients to do this and that. And that's just painful. So I hope this resonates with people, you guys here. Like, I don't want you feeling that pain. And when somebody pulls you off track, that's why I have the seller intake form. It's just a set of questions. I thought about this today, and I've taught listing presentation trainings for 17 years. And this part of it, I mean, I could spend 3 hours just on the seller intake form. And yesterday, what I did is I took my form, which I have every time I had a problem, I reassessed my questions, the order of the questions. Is it perfect? Never perfect. It's always adjusting. It's always a moving target. But I created a GPT within ChatGPT. Show of hands. Anybody create GPTs in ChatGPT? Anybody familiar with this? Jeff, you familiar with that? Anybody else? No? You guys, anybody else use ChatGPT? AI. You guys use AI? All right. ChatGPT in particular? Not that I'm attached to anything in particular. But with a GPT, it's just preloading. If you guys are not familiar, you're preloading that chat up with specific information that you can tailor it because you can only do so much because the more information you give AI, the better the answer. Garbage in, garbage out. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one. Okay. You don't put the right information in, it's bad information coming out. So I've been creating GPTs within ChatGPT for a lot of various reasons. I help business owners write best-selling business books. So the more information I have on their business, I can help write their book for them. And it comes with anything. So the past month or so, about a month and a half, I've been really diving into sales scripts. Now, a script is only a script when you have the other person knowing their lines too. All right. But that's what they call it, scripts. It's not really a dialogue. It's a dialogue, but they don't know their lines. All right. So I've taken some really incredible scripts. Now, some of these scripts, I can't share where I got them from, and I can't even share them because I signed non-disclosure agreements. But I created a GPT within ChatGPT to analyze these scripts and figure out where they came from. What research went into it? What's the psychology of it? What's the, when somebody says, "Oh, there's psychology in the sales script." No, which psychology? Which doctor? Which psychologist? Which books? Which research went into this? Just the word psychology, that's great. But which kind went into it? What type of that? Now, if I've lost you guys right there, I understand. I understand. I've done this a long time. So it's like, I didn't even realize how much psychology was in my seller intake form until I ran it through my sales script analyzer in a GPT. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is exactly where that comes from. Oh my gosh, that's the book that I remember reading that book, and X, Y, and Z came out of that. So yeah, I want you guys all to read about 15 different books, and they're probably all 10 to 15 hours on Audible. I mean, do the math on time. When are you guys going to do that? Not done. I'll put the recommended book list, and I'll share this stuff with you guys too. But I want to share a little bit of what I did. I'll show you like the super quick version. Now it's recorded, so the idea of this of a GPT. I'm just going to share my screen here. And by the way, I created a whole slideshow right here for this presentation. Can anybody take a guess how long it took me to create this? And you just yell it out. I don't care. Anybody? Jeff?
You did
How
it
long
with
do you think
ChatGPT, didn't you?
No, I actually did this
No?
Gamma.
Oh, did you?
I did it with Gamma.
Okay.
So I loaded in my seller intake form and the psychology behind it. Okay. I actually did a couple different ones, a couple different versions of it. I just loaded it into it and it spit it out. This was seriously like 30 seconds.
Wow.
So I hope that was insightful to some of you. If you think some of this stuff will take days to do, like once you know this stuff, it is much quicker than you realize. So if I'm going to go into here, I'm going to go to my GPTs. So if everybody's familiar, this is ChatGPT. Familiar, right? Nothing crazy here. But I want you guys to learn, and I want you guys to pick some stuff up if you can. So if I go into GPTs, all right, I'm just going up in here, my GPT. This is on a free model. I pay $30 a month for this. I actually pay $60, my assistants too. But you can do a lot of this stuff in a free version, and you can use my GPTs. You can do this on your own too. But if I want to create right here, create a custom GPT. Now, if I have to go backwards, and if I want to pull up this sales script analyzer, all right. I know this is, let me just do this seller intake form. So if I just take my seller intake form, let's just say I just upload it, all right, and reverse engineer sales scripts, all right. Let's just see what it does. So this GPT, and I don't know what it's going to do specifically because several documents, this is your files. Let's just see. Reverse engineer this script and give the detailed sources and see what it does. Because I did a different version of this. Structure breakdown, script follows approach, pre-appointment preparation, establish expertise, building rapport. Like this is just, I'm just putting my intake form into it, which looks like this. These are my questions. Write down information about the property, that kind of stuff. And it's spitting it out. Building rapport, pre-appointment preparation, sales discovery, qualification. All right. Mirrors, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is modeled after spin selling. And the funny thing is, I just read that book last week. As much as I knew about it, I never actually got through it. The authority principle. Just going through a lot of the scarcity principles, all this stuff. So this is just, it's breaking the whole thing down. I never realized how much was in my seller intake. This is the seller intake form. Okay. It's a 1-page document that I create, and I'll give you guys a copy of this. It's a 1-page document that It's not designed to be pretty. It's designed to make sure you ask the right questions and go through the 8 criteria of a valid listing appointment, which is they want to sell. You have enough information for a ballpark market analysis. You've asked how much they want for their property. You pre-qualified them on the phone. Decision makers are present. Enough time is scheduled. You know what objections to overcome, and a pre-appointment package is sent. I believe we covered that in the last training. Those are the 8 criteria, 8 keys to a valid listing appointment. The 8 criteria. And how I did that is then I took that down to set questions in a specific order. All right. Now, stick with me on this. So what I did is I created the psychology of it. So this is the psychology of this. The first part of it, where are you moving to? What's the psychology? Open-ended questions. There's not open-ended who, what, where, well, how, when, why. You want them to talk. All right. Use this gather information without seeming pushy. This is so funny. I plugged this through a few times with a few different prompts, with a few of my GPTs I created, and it broke all this down. Which major best-selling books, have explained this, and best-selling authors and different psychologists that have explained this. This is psychology. Second question: encourage the prospect to articulate their thoughts, reinforce their own commitment. I didn't even think about it that way. I'll be honest with you. When I go on the seller intake form, first question is, where are you moving to? It's about them. It's not about me. All right. And if somebody wants to sell their home and they can't answer this question, what are we doing here? All right. Now, sometimes the answer is, I'm not moving. I'm selling an investment property. Oh, okay, great. You're going to get that. Sometimes it's one question that covers multiple questions. Let's see, what's a good question for that? How long you own your home for? Well, I don't own a home. I lease. See, you're not asking do you rent or own. It's how long you own your home for. And they'll give you different answers from it. That's a different script. But this question was it's a conversation starter. That's how I always had that. But this is the question I always want to know. What caused you to reach out to me? I want to know what marketing sources are working. I want to know where they came from. If it was a referral, I want to thank that person. I want to bribe that person. I want to make sure they send me more people. I want to do whatever I can. I want to know where my business is coming from. If each and every one of you are not asking this question, you need to that's the key takeaway there. Figure out how they came to you. And whatever those sources are, get more of those. That's what I really want to know. I just put it the second question because I didn't have any rapport with the people whatsoever. And I really want to know. I mean, I would reorder these questions for the information I want, but I got to have it in a specific order to get them to talk. I want to know why. Why are you selling? What's your motivation? When I understand what your motivation is, I understand to get you how to get you through a deal. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing real quick. Remember, I'm telling you the story of one of my past clients who got into real estate for 2 years, helped a buyer, then listed their house, sold, got that under contract, and then both those deals fell apart at the home inspection on their purchase. I want to know what's your motivation for selling, because when you get into a deal, everybody here, if you've done one deal or done 100 deals or 1,000 deals, things go sideways. And if you don't understand their motivation, you got to put it right back in front of them. You said you wanted to move. You are in 1,000 square foot condo right now. You have 3 children and your in-laws living with you with 1 bathroom. Are you kidding me? How does that make any kind of sense? All right. You are looking to purchase a 3,500 square foot home with a 3-car garage and a fenced-in backyard. And you have another child coming along shortly. So when somebody gets their own, upset about the process, somebody, negotiated the wrong way and just rubbed them the wrong way. Oh, I don't like these people. You got a buyer and a seller. How complicated is that, people, right? But then add in the 20, 30 other people involved in the deal that nobody knows about and throws a wrench into the system. And here we go. This is why I have the seller intake form. This is why I did. It's like I'm going back to a set system. And I know sometimes I'm going to blank out. I'm going to get overwhelmed. I'm going to get distracted. And what do I need? I need to go, how do I go back on track? Oh, hey, Jeff. Hey, where are you moving to? Hey, Jeff, what caused you to reach out to me? They're pretty open-ended questions, Jeff, right? I mean, that's a closed-ended question. That's just a tie-down question, But this is what I'm going through. I want to know why they want to sell. That's one of my 8 criteria. A valid listing appointment doesn't meet that criteria. I'm not going on the appointment. By the way, do you have an agent helping you? wherever you're moving. Now, the way I phrase this, be in mind, in Illinois, when I wrote this, the last version of it, it was the second most exited state in the country. Okay, so I wasn't helping somebody move down the street most of the time. And if I go down here, what caused you to reach out to me? That encouraged the prospect to articulate their thoughts, reinforce their own commitment. And when I think about this, oh my gosh, people have been sold on me by that second question. Oh yeah, so-and-so told me to reach out to you. They said I had a great experience. You got them this kind of price for their home. It was real quick. It was so easy. I was great. You know, they had a few problems. You helped them out with that. They're selling me on the second question. And all I want to know is my marketing. That's what I wanted to know. I want to know what my marketing's working so I can get in front of more people. But, you know, throwing this through a sales script analyzer that I created, I was like, man, I can't believe how many times that has happened. Exactly that. They're articulating their thoughts and reinforcing their own commitment. That's the psychology of these questions. And, you know, obviously, why are you selling? Directly address motivation, allowing the agent to tailor their pitch accordingly. These are questions that I ask people before I go on the appointment. They're also the same questions I ask when I go on the appointment. And if anybody is familiar with asking control questions, meaning if you ask a question you pretty much know the answer to, and somebody has a different answer, like I'll ask on the phone, set of questions, I get in person at their kitchen table, ask the same questions, and the answers have changed. And I can't tell you how many times it's like, all right, how many agents are you talking to? By the way, I do have that as one of the questions in here, not specifically that wording. So this first section here is building rapport, understanding motivation. The sales scripts that I have reverse engineered in the past month, you got to build trust. It's that trust factor up front. People don't care what you know till they know that you care. Understand their motivation, build rapport. The second section comes into identifying the decision makers and creating a sense of urgency. Let's do this. All right. Because, you know, we're going to think about it. You know, we're going to, and we heard that one before. What are you going to think about? I just answered everything for you. What are you going to think about? And you said you want to move, and you're still sitting in a 1,000 square foot condo with how many people? 3 children, the 2 of you and your in-laws. I don't know how you fit in there with 1 bath. I don't know how that works. That's literally one of my deals. Has been like that. Actually, more than one. By the way, do you have an agent to help you out in wherever you're moving to? This is softly introducing a solution while ensuring they are not already committed to another agent. I want to refer it out to an agent that's going to pay me a referral fee. I want to know they're working with a decent agent, so I don't have to fix the problem down the road if I'm not helping them or one of my team members is not going to help them out. I'm actually going through this book too, right? In this book right here, Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, the updated version. Fascinating. I mean, there's nothing in here that I'm unfamiliar with for myself, but I mean, I go through a lot of books. I mean, I've gone through 70 books in the past year, and some multiple times. And I've written books for people too this past year. So it's just fascinating, just different ways of thinking things, breaking things down, and just the psychology that goes into it. And you're exploring how social proof, okay, and authority influences decisions. So the next question I have on here is, when do you want to sell? And if it's like, oh, we don't know, you know, all right, you know, before or after the school year, Christmas, holidays, like what is it? In the psychology, you know, use time constraints to create urgency, increasing commitment. Because they say, all right, right now it's March 11th, if I'm looking at my calendar correctly. All right. Yeah, we're not looking to move till the kids are out of school for the year. Oh, wow. My first thought is, are you familiar? You could be totally behind schedule here. Are you familiar with real estate timing analysis? Now, I don't necessarily say that right here and there because when I do this on the phone with people, I am not looking to solve their problems. I'm looking to collect information and build rapport. If this is on the phone, the first time meeting, okay, I'm going to scroll up back up here. Sorry. The whole point of this is not to argue with everybody, not to tell them they're wrong or tell them how to live their life. No, it's collect information, build rapport. I can't tell you how many times agents that I've trained have gotten way too down the rabbit hole on this one, and they lost the appointment. All right. Get the appointment, build rapport, collect information. But when you're actually on the listing appointment, that's when you have this information. That's when you're going to solve their problems. But you need to have that information up front and make sure you have the complete information before you try to solve some of their problems or show them the way to do this. So that's just my thought. We're March 11th, and if somebody says, "Yeah, we don't want to sell until the kids get out of school," a real estate timing analysis will break down. That's in my head right now. All the timing factors that go into selling your home, meaning prep time, market time, under contract time, all the different factors that go into it. And most people don't realize how much time actually goes into listing a home and getting it done from start to finish. And if it's done in the wrong order with the wrong time frames in mind, you're late to the game. Like right now, try to get a contractor to fix something up. You're walking into the selling season in most areas of the country. They're packed, especially when I'm talking to somebody in November and December, and they're like, "Oh, we want to wait till the end of the school year." Oh no, my gosh, let's go through this. Now I don't say that on the phone call. I say that in person. All right. But that's what I'm trying to get them through that process, to get that urgency and commitment, because I'm like, we can wait. Oh my gosh, if I could get you the price you want and close when you want, would you take that? So let's just say it's November. If I get you the price you want and close when you want, and you want to wait till your kids are out of school for the school year, would you take that? Well, of course. Well, I can't do it till you sign the contract. And we can always do a private listing. All right. Because if I find that person coming in, and if not everybody has private listings out there, and I can explain that in different ways, always reach out to your managing brokers on that subject. But I would sign a private listing with somebody, even though I may not actually put it live on the market until March or April. And a good percentage of the time, I'd have it under contract before then, before it actually went live, because I either had a buyer or I knew agents who had buyers, and they always knew my inventory because I always put it out there in different ways. And just different ways to get through a deal. So the second section is identifying those decision makers, creating a sense of urgency. And if you're looking at some of this stuff, I haven't even read this book. Details of time-sensitive choices impact behavior. I hope you guys are all, have an Audible account, listening to this in your car. That's all I do. Like I don't listen to music in my car. I mean, that's great. I can, rock it out in the car. But if I can actually learn something while just driving somewhere, that can make me more money. So section 3, and it cracks me up, section 3. Is it really section 3? I can do it this way. All right. So I put the listing and seller intake form right there. Show you guys the difference here. All right. So section 3, it's just breaking down. I didn't break it down as sections. This I made as small print as possible. I put all the, the formatting of it to as wide as possible. It's not meant to be a pretty page. It's meant to be, if somebody's on the other side of the table, they can't read this because you're just taking notes. This part up here, I want to see if you can fill this out ahead of time. All right. Now, I want to stop share. Show of hands, who has the app Forewarn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. Who does not? Who does not know what I'm talking about? Forewarn. Forewarn. Look it up right now. That app. Please, for the love of God, please, I'm begging you, get that app.
Get that app.
My board of realtors pays for it as part of my realtor dues. It's meant for real estate agents. You can type in a phone number and it can spit out their address, anything associated with that phone number. Now, it's not all correct. You got to learn how to use it. You can figure out if you're walking into a place where the guy has, 20 criminal records and 10 domestic batteries on his record. Has that happened? Happened recently. I've talked to somebody like that. Just make sure you know what you're doing. And if they're actually the proper sellers of the place. But I'll get a phone call once in a while. Hey, this is Bob. Hey, Brian, I'm looking to sell my place. Give me a call. I don't know who Bob is, but I'll type his number into Forewarn. And if it's in my geographic farm, I'll call him back up. Hey, Bob, how you doing? I hear you're looking to sell your place. Is that the property on 123 Main Street? Oh, hey, Brian, how'd you know that? Wouldn't be any good at my job if I didn't know that. So let's get into this. Where are you moving to? I'll just go right in the seller intake form. Okay. forewarn. If you take anything away from this call, figure it out, forewarn. Please. It is so much information about who you're talking to. You know, they got 3 bankruptcies, a million in judgments against them. It's like you can look some of this stuff up and go, you really need to talk to my lender. You really need to talk to my lender before we do anything, whatever it is. Please, that forewarn app, that's where you can fill out the seller intake form right from the start. Like you can fill out this top half, this top section of it. Now I have basement. I know not all of you have basements in different parts of the country, but this is for Illinois. And sprinklers. Most of my properties don't have sprinkler systems in it. Okay. But why do I put it on the seller intake form? Because my sign guy doesn't want to stick a sign in a sprinkler system. So it's his requirement. So this is as much stuff as I want to collect as if I can collect it ahead of time, but I will collect it throughout the process of asking these questions. So here we are. That was section 3. All right. Gathering information. Have you made improvements? Okay. What needs to be updated or repaired? Now it's an assumptive question. All right. What would you like to tell me about your home? See, I didn't even put it in here. So what needs to be updated or repaired? That's my assumptive question. I can't tell you how many times I've asked, on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready is your property to be on the market? And it's a 9. Okay, so you live there for 15 years. You've replaced the microwave. You haven't done paint or flooring ever. You have 3 kids. Your in-laws stay with you too. And you're at a 9 out of 10? Are you kidding me? No, I don't say that, but that's in my mind. All right, I know what I'm dealing with. When you ask the same questions over and over, it's control questions. You know what you're walking into. When I would have my team members at a certain point just fill out this form. They would take the phone calls on this, and I'd look at the sheet, and I know exactly what I was walking into or they were walking into. Because you do the same thing over and over and over. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. I mean, you can. It's just exhausting. But I would know. And I love some people are like, oh my gosh, we put 400 grand in upgrades here and here and here. And maybe we're a 6 out of 10. What? You put 400 grand in upgrades into a $600,000 house? And you did that all in the past year and you think you're a 6 out of 10? Oh, I love you. I love you. You're beautiful. Like, I mean, those are people I love. Because they're such perfectionists. Now, getting through a deal is a little more challenging with some of those people, but there's the fun of it. So, what price would you like to sell your home for? Okay, just curious, how'd you come up with that price? You have to ask this question. What price? You need to know this. I was in the car business before I got into real estate. Ironically, waiting to go into federal law enforcement because I interned with the Secret Service. But in the car business, I always learned the first person who puts the price out there usually loses. That was just kind of a game. So, what's the psychology? Using anchoring to test the reasoning. Many sellers have unrealistic expectations. Anybody ever have a seller who has an unrealistic expectation on price? I mean, come on, put 2 hands up for that. Oh my, geez. So I didn't realize this book talks about that. Teaches how to help prospects rethink assumptions. If their price is high, guide them to realistic ranges using a comparative market analysis. That's what we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to make sure we collect enough information to get the right, well, we know what to say to them when we get them in person. The next part of this is, oh my gosh, who else are you talking to about selling your home? Now, it could mean your spouse or a friend or family, or it could be a lender or attorney, or it could be an agent. I don't actually say the stuff that's in parentheses. I just want to see what they're saying. Oh, we're talking to 6 agents. Oh, no, we're not talking to anybody. Oh, I talked to my friend about it. Talked to my neighbor. Oh, we got an attorney that we had to talk to because our house is in a land trust, so we had to talk to him about that. Whatever. I just want to see what their answer is. Identifies decision makers. I want to know who's the decision makers. I want to know who else is involved. Yes, we talked to our children and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, well, do they need to be involved with this? And go back to spin selling. Explain. Identifying key decision makers. That's so important that you have the right, and that's on here, you have the right decision makers, you have them present as a part of the seller intake, the 8 criteria of a valid listing appointment. The decision makers aren't there. It's a meet and greet, and you cannot give the price and you cannot give your commission because they cannot move forward So it's just, unless you're really good at objection handling, I wouldn't go on that appointment. How much do you owe? Do you have any liens, judgments, bankruptcies, and or lawsuits pending? That's why I use forewarn. I just look it up right then and there, but I want to see what they say. I want to see, because sometimes we can overcome some of these things. I had one guy who had a $300,000 judgment against him. He was selling a $300,000 house. And I forgot, I had asked this. I had gotten the answer, and he's like, "Oh, it's all cleared up." And I'm like, no, 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 no. I love it when people say, "Oh, it's all cleared up." That's just a total red flag. All right. I forgot to run it by my attorney because he took a month to get the place ready. That's on me. I get it on the market, get under contract fairly quickly. And we're going through the attorney review. And my attorney's like, Brian, he's got a $300,000 judgment. Oh my God, I forgot to ask you about that. So what basically any equity coming out of the house, which he needs to buy the next house, it ain't gonna happen. How do we get through that deal? Luckily, I had a really good attorney that, what a great idea. I thought that was a dead deal. And my attorney reached out to the bank and said, look, how about this? We'll give you some of the money of the proceeds, but he needs enough of the money to go buy another house. And you're not getting all the money out of it either way. You're not getting your whole judgment amount out of it. So give him enough money to go buy the next property, take some of that money, and slap a lien on the next property. They agreed to it. They agreed to it. Because they weren't getting any money just attaching the lien to his current property. So we're getting some money, and they slapped a lien on the next property. Everybody was happy. Even my client was happy with that. Psychology of selling covers pre-qualifying leads. Imagine that. All right. What other properties do you need to sell? Referral strategies. Bob Berg wrote, what's the book Bob Berg wrote? It was The Go-Giver. I like that book, The Go-Giver. It's cute. It's a real simple read, real quick read, real quick on Audible too. But he wrote another book, Endless Referrals, discussing effective referral techniques right there. Who else? What other properties need to sell or know of need to sell? Because I forget to ask that question. And they're like, well, we didn't think you worked this area, but we have a condo that needs to be sold. Oh, yeah, happy. Yeah, we bought it during the housing recession, or we couldn't sell. We didn't bother selling. We just rented it out. We rented it out forever. Yeah, happy to take care of that too. If you like everything you see and hear when we get together and the price feels right, would there be anything preventing you from getting your home on the market? That's the closing question right there. That is the closing question. You want to know what this is. All right. You're preemptively uncovering objections before they arise. The psychology of closing, Zig Ziglar. Now, if somebody says, hey, Brian, we want to talk to 6 other real estate agents, no problem. So if you like everything you see in here when we get together, you talk to 6 other agents, the price feels right. Would there be anything preventing you from getting your home on the market? Well, we also want to paint. All right. So if you like everything you see in here when we get together, you talk to 6 agents, you paint, and the price feels right. Is there anything else preventing you? Is there anything else preventing you from getting your home on the market? No, that's it. I'm going to keep asking it over and over and adding it into it to know where I'm going. They could say unrealistic things. It doesn't matter to me. I just want them to say, yes. Yes, if I like the price, and everything sounds good, I'm ready to move forward. Versus, I have no intention to ever sell. Do not go on that appointment. It's not a listing appointment. It'll come up time and time. They won't always say 6 other agents, but it's like, sometimes it's like, oh, you want to redo your kitchen before you put it on the market? Why don't we do this? Well, before I go with that, if you redid your kitchen and if you like everything you see in here, we get together and the price feels right, is there anything else preventing you from getting your home on the market? No, that's it. Okay, let's go back to that point that you want to redo your kitchen. How much time, money, and energy is that going to cost you? And why don't we get together before you do that so I can make sure it's the right stuff you're putting into it versus either overspending or putting the wrong stuff in based off of what's going on in the market? Would that be beneficial to you? Oh, wow, Brian, that sounds great. And you want to make sure, you collect all their information. You want all the decision makers' emails, all the decision makers, all right? Husband, wife, parents, children, sibling, whoever's making the decision on this, whoever has power of attorney, whatever's involved with this. It goes back into the psychology of persuasion. And sometimes it's just real that simple. You think you have everything. You may have one person's phone number, but I want all their email addresses because I want to send them my marketing plan ahead of time, and definitely appointment reminders. And I want to remind them again and again and again. I was talking to one agent that terrible response on how many people actually were there when the appointment was scheduled. I said, did you send them like a Google Calendar invite? Did you call them ahead of time? Did you call them ahead of time with a reason to ask them another question and then reconfirm the appointment? Did you call them when you were on the way and text them on the way? Hey, I'm on the way. Just want to let you know. Everything good? You know? So how many times did I right there contact with them between now and the appointment? I think I rattled off at least 5 times if I do my math right. That's just something I'm going to do over and over and over. Over and over and over. Conclusion. Mastering these questions and understanding the psychology behind them, sales professionals can significantly improve their conversion rates. Using these strategies consistently build trust, handling objections, and closing deals more efficiently. Now here, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent says, and it's based off a referral basis mainly, it's your MET category. They should get 80% of the listing appointments you go on. 80. I don't agree with that because I was very marketing based, so mine was lower, right? But of the percent that you do get, taking it from listing taken to listing closed, they say it's 60%, which I think is appalling. All right. Now, I was not at 80%. Why? Because I was turning people down. You want to overprice it by 100 grand? I'm not interested. Thank you very much. Because how much time, money, effort am I going to put into that? If I take it's nothing worse than an opener price listing. So I turn people down. So my conversion rate was probably about 2 out of 3, somewhere in the 60s. But my conversion rate wasn't 60% to close. It was 98%. The people that I didn't close, like take them to the actual closing, is people who said, Brian, our job relocation didn't go through. We're not moving. Oh, yeah, great. No problem. I'll take your home off the market. How simple is that? But I wasn't losing it to, oh, Brian, we're going to switch agents. You know, that kind of stuff. Or it sits on the market for a year and expires. No, I'm not doing any of that type of stuff. Not at all. Have a whole nother bonus reading section in here too. I like that. Bonus reading section. I'll be honest. Most of my career, I probably didn't read that many books. You know, and it's probably more over the past, 5 years. I've really gotten into this, and I wish I would have done this earlier. I really wish I would have. Really wish I would have gone to this over and over. But what can I say? And then here, I don't know. I just put some coaching stuff, a little bit about me, and look at that. Some of my books. Put the links right here. You guys can see the links. Sorry, this was about me section. I used this for a different thing. So I just copy and paste it. It's kind of a resume type thing. I used it for a couple of businesses because I was writing up business proposals for them. But I'm happy to share this with you guys. Copy link. Let's do this. Anyone with the link, how's that sound? Copy the link. I'm going to put it in the chat box. And I have a little bit of time here left to answer any questions or have a conversation. What do you think of this, Jeff? Do you like this?
Yeah, great stuff. No, really good stuff. I mean, I don't know. I had something similar, but not this thorough, in terms of getting, those conversations before the appointment are so important, and so many times we just don't do it. When I first started, I didn't do it, hey, I'm looking for somebody to come sell my house. Great. What, Tuesday, 4:00, and you show, and it's like, you're clueless. It's just like you're walking in blind, and it's like, and they're really not looking to sell their house. They just want to see what their house is worth and whatever. And they're looking to do some improvements, and maybe, you get into all these situations, and to have this kind of conversation, you build that rapport. In a huge way. And
just do it.
Yeah. I probably did. And I don't know. I did get 8 out of 10 listing appointments I go to, because it's just, I don't know, I've won them over before I even walk in the door through that conversation, and then through that pre-listing package that I send out, which is digital. Like they're just ready to go with me,
Yeah.
And they'll cancel other appointments that they have with realtors after our phone call.
Well, right. Absolutely. That's, I had one guy who said, I really appreciate you, being so thorough and asking me questions about everything. I've never met a real estate agent that really seemed like they cared that much. I'm like, cared that much? I just don't want to deal with the problems and headaches down the road. I didn't say that. I said, oh, thank you. It's every problem that I see can be backed up into the initial contact with somebody.
Mhm.
How did that relationship start? How did you set expectations of how you work? And I just want to collect information. Build rapport, collect information, initial call. That's it. Build rapport, collect information. Have a reason to follow up with them again before the appointment. Hey, I just want to check, is that basement still, is that finished or unfinished? Because I'm pulling up unfinished. Did you guys ever? No, you didn't. Oh, okay, great. No problem. Hey, we're still confirmed for this time, this time. Yeah, great. All right. I'll see you then. Like anytime you can touch base with them too. And so many people, yeah, they miss the steps. Oh, I want to sell it. Great. I'll come over here. They're just, or they just want a price. Great. And they want to do a refinance on their mortgage. And Jeff, man, you don't want to waste your time with that. Hey, I'm happy to send you a market analysis. You can take a look at that information. Hopefully that'll be helpful for you. And if you actually think about selling, I'm happy to help you out with that too. You build rapport in different ways. This is, I hope this is beneficial for everybody here. I mean, for you guys who are paying attention, and I know everybody is. What's your biggest takeaway from this? Throw it in the chat box. I'm curious. What have you gotten from this? Have you gotten anything? If you said, Brian, this is awful, let me know too. But give me one thing, just one thing that you can take away, because I think that's the most important thing. What can you take away from this that you can utilize immediately? Would be great. Pick a reason, type it in. Reinforces the learning process too.
Anybody want to unmute? Share a couple things. Any questions? Any thoughts, comments? Some great stuff there. Let's see here. Be more in depth with the questions. Yep. Set expectations in the beginning. Building rapport for sure. Key question: What do you think it will sell for? You know, I haven't looked up anything on your house yet. What do you think it would sell for? And man, that's you want to get to know what are they?
I want to know what's in their head. I want to know what's in their head
because they might
they spill it out.
300,000 off. I've had that before.
Absolutely. But I also said, well, I had 3 agents who said this. Okay, now what I'm walking into. Or, exactly. You know, where did you come up with this number? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Oh, Zillow said this. Okay, well, at least I know more information. And on the phone, I'm not looking to argue with them. I'm looking to build rapport, collect information so that I can prepare for the actual appointment to overcome those objections and those crazy expectations. You want what? Are you kidding me? Right. No, I know it's great. I want to get on the appointment because if I start arguing with them on the phone about their price, I will lose the appointment and I will lose the process of building rapport in that process.
Yeah.
And that's really just stay on track. Stay on track. Yeah. That's stay on track. Don't go off track. My seller intake form is never a pretty form. It's not designed to be pretty. I didn't put fancy logos on it, that kind of stuff. It just meant to put as much information on one page that has the 8 bullet points of the 8 criteria of a valid listing appointment. Did you check those things off? And here's the questions to ask so that when you're on the appointment, I ask the exact same questions, same things. And it's just amazing. The difference.
Cheryl mentions in here, you know, ask questions, learn their why. I think that's so key. Why are they looking to move? What are they looking to do? And one of the things I will say that has helped me so much over the years when it comes to pricing, because they've got this thing in their head, like it becomes almost more of a pride thing. Like, you know, this house is worth 700,000, but and then when you run the numbers with what their payoff's going to be and how much they're going to walk away with, they've got, $80,000 more than what they need to actually get done what they're looking to do. And not that you want to price it 80,000 below market, but it will help you in terms of just let's be realistic on the price, but also like at the end of the day, if we could list the house at 650, you're going to walk away with this. Does that help you get to where you need to get and it does. Okay, well, let's not price it $50,000 over. Let's be smart about it. I want you to get as much money as you can. But realistically, it looks like realistically, you should probably be priced about 680. I mean, if we look at this, like here's the comps, whatever. Let's don't start at 700. Let's do 680. Let's see if we can get you that 30,000 over what you need. But still, we got lots of room if we need to get you out of this house and get you onto the next house, which is what you're really looking to do.
Yeah, that motivation.
And you can have this kind of conversation.
You know this ahead of time.
They get hung up here. And it's great for price adjustments if you need it.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to understand their motivation. And it's setting the expectations on the actual appointment. The seller intake form is really the questions before you even go on the appointment too. Like the idea is not to solve it beforehand, but know what needs to be solved on the appointment so you can do your research to present it with logical and emotional reasons why they would want to go your direction that you were going to present to them. But if you're just going to try to do it off the cuff, which I don't recommend doing, because you don't have the research behind you, and you lose the appointment.
Yep.
Do it in person when you have all the decision makers there. They're sitting down. They'll have a conversation versus they just hang up. And that's that trust. Why would they even trust you at that point? People don't care what you know until they know that you care. And you have enough time to build up some of that aspect of it. So 50% of the listing appointment is before the appointment. 50% of it. If you've done that 50%, the other 50% is a whole lot easier. A whole lot easier. I can't tell you how many agents have they just walk right in. And I think some of these agents are incredible agents, but they have so many more problems throughout the deals, unnecessary problems that could have been solved up front because you knew what they were, versus would just slap a price on it, slap a sign out, put it lockbox and let it go. Oh, wow. That's yikes. We could put a monkey behind the wheel too and see how well that works out. But, I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe it's in a Tesla and self-driving and they can't change the auto drive part, but whatever. There's always different ways to do things. Stick to a script. Stick to what works. I just want to say I'm so grateful that you guys are here to join me on this and that I'm able to share this. And if I helped one person make one more deal out of this, that's a win for me. That's what this is.
That was awesome. Hey, real quick, Brett, you want to unmute yourself? I saw you unmuted earlier. I was going to call on you, and you got your hand raised. There you go.
Yeah. I think got it unmuted. This would have helped me with one transaction last year that took forever and turned into a real nightmare because the client that I held on to, which I wouldn't have had if I'd gone to the seller intake form. One thing I wanted to ask you about, Brian, is I did a bunch of research last fall because I was kind of wondering about these questions. And I looked at different neighborhoods, very high-end neighborhoods, low-end neighborhoods, everything in between, different places around Lexington, Kentucky, Georgetown, Kentucky. And so I was looking for when does somebody get above list price? And so I was looking at sales price versus list price ratios, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was also looking at price per square foot. I found that in the first 5 days, that's when 80% of the above list price offers come in.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened again. Didn't matter the neighborhood, whether it was like $1 million homes or $250,000 homes.
Sure.
So that was kind of fascinating to me. I would encourage people to do that on your own. Download your data from your MLS. But my question to you is when to use that kind of detailed analysis with a potential seller client?
On the appointment.
Okay.
Actually, on the appointment, not on the phone, on the appointment.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I tell people 2 weeks, 10 showings, whichever comes first. And if that's not the case, what's the problem? And they can argue whatever they want, but I want them to spit out, well, it comes down to price. Yeah, it does. I want them to know that. Well, so I'll walk them through a market analysis step by step in detail, leading them to the price that I'm thinking. Okay. Putting that detail in front of them. I'm kind of guiding them there. I'm very rarely I'm flat out saying this is the price. I want them to say that. I want them to be in the same mindset. That's why the rapport, the trust factor is so important by the time you get to pricing and you have all the decision makers in the right seats there so they can move forward. They're sold on you, your company, the timing of everything. Now they need to be sold on the price. What does your commission matter if they're not sold on the price? So we don't even need to go to cover commission. So that's when we go through that. And that's why I felt so much pain on listing appointments, ladies and gentlemen. I have felt so much pain. I have screwed up so many listing appointments. I don't want you guys to, and I don't want you, Brett. How long was that listing that you sat on for? Way too long. How long?
I've had a couple of them this year.
How much mental energy has that taken up for you when that could have been put towards
it was
a dozen other people?
Yeah.
You could have done other deals. You could have worked with other people. Brett, there's people out there who would love to have worked with you, but you didn't have the mental capacity to even deal with it, probably.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
That's what I want to avoid. And that's
Yeah.
why you can reduce your hours on how you work if you work with the right people with the right expectations. There's just so many variables with people. We're dealing with the general public, ladies and gentlemen. And if it was just friends and family, that'd even be worse. They have even higher expectations.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, let's set it up right. Do less, make them happier. Not skating anything. You're just doing the things that are most important.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
I think
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Every home out there will sell at the right price. It doesn't matter what it is. It
You
will
may have to
sell
pay
at the
somebody.
right price. Yeah.
You may have to pay somebody to take the house. That's the right price.
Yeah.
And they, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, price
It's
cures all.
and I think what you said, to get them to come to that conclusion, and if they go, and if you have that conversation on the listing appointment about that, like, look, we need to be watching this. I remember I used to say that same thing. Every 2 weeks or every 10 showings, we should at least have an offer. It doesn't mean you have to be one that you take, but we should at least have an offer. If we go 2 weeks and you've had 2 showings, just know this, well, we're not getting feedback. No, you are getting feedback. The market is telling you we're not interested in this house at this price. There's your feedback because you've had
Jeff,
no showings.
2 weeks, 10 showings, even if you have an offer, if it's not acceptable, that you're still going to get
100%.
offers at times on overpriced listings, but it's the wrong buyers.
Right.
So I
That's
think we're
good.
going over time, but I want to say once again, thank you, everybody. Really do appreciate it. If I can help anybody in the future, let me know. And if you could ever do me a favor, if you see my books, if you go on Amazon, a 5-star review, I would be so grateful for that. All right. 5-star reviews on Amazon for any of my books. That's the only thing I would ever ask.
You